Hello, everyone. This is Cross. What I'd like to talk about today is my Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign. This is journal entry number 16. So, we have a little scenario here. The party's split. We need to get them back together. So, what I'd like to talk about a little bit is how I kind of go about that. We've got a split party in any sort of situation kind of requires you to bounce the narration from the subgroups of your main group and hopefully work their way back towards reuniting them. Key element here is divide things up into scenes. So anytime I split the party, I've got a scene running, kind of get to a good stopping point. At the end of that scene, okay, what are you doing next? What is your next goal? What is your next objective? So if you are at the blacksmith, are you going now to the inn? Are you trying to go back to the inn? Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to shift over to this other group. So this group of two and this group of two. In this scenario, during the session, we had a situation where the party was kind of split from session 15, where three of our people couldn't make it. But I wanted them to kind of experience the end of the Shattered Oblivion. So I needed to spend a little time with the other group. Unfortunately, 2 out of those 3 people were still missing. So I needed to basically run a little solo mission for Seiji to kind of get him back towards the rest of the group. Ultimately, it's okay to split the party. It is a technique. There's no magical force keeping the group together as soon as they meet. I feel that splitting the party can really help with the individual characters. It gives these 2 players a chance to run the scene however they want. You can at times have a character that's just extremely involved in every scene. Kind of splitting them up kind of gives it, okay, this character is good at that, this character is good at that. And sometimes it's just really messy. So I highly encourage you to allow your players to split the party for a little while in towns and sometimes in just certain scenarios. And give them that opportunity for these 2 players to run a scene the way that they want to and to really shine and really stand out, and then ask them what they're doing next. What are you doing next? Okay, now we're going to move the camera over to these other 2 characters. All right, you guys are going to run your scene. What are you doing next? And then you just kind of keep going with that process until finally all the characters meet back up and you've got your group back together again. That is one of the things that I had to handle during the session 16 is just splitting the party, how to narrate that. The next thing, Seiji kind of opened up an avenue for a wrestling match. Well, rolling D20 and doing point of damage here and there, it's not too exciting. So what you can do is allow a lot more flexibility when it comes to this, more maneuvers and stuff like that. Really narrate the action, so to speak. Make certain moves do some damage, even though they're more of like a grappling maneuver, an athletics check or something like that. Just really be a little bit more freeform with how it works. Understanding it is a competition. And in this case, Seiji won by submission, which basically I said, if you're going to pass 3 athletics checks right in a row against this guy, that's enough to get him to tap out. That was kind of the trigger in my mind. So we had that. We had this other scene. Then we have also got another scene going on where we essentially have another chance encounter with Calista, which is the goddess of fate. We have a cleric of fate who's basically calling out to her. It seems like she's not going to show up. And really, that was really a choice of tension. Sure, when she called out, Krista could have said, I'm here. But saying nothing, it makes the character and the player both think, okay, she's too busy. And then to turn around and just see her standing there waiting for her to turn, that's a little intense. So they get to have this conversation, a little bit of whispers going on. How to handle kind of what's going on there. I get a lot of messages from my players on what they're trying to do, what they're trying to set up. And so a lot of the scene setups that you see in my games are set up through an initial whisper. I'm trying to do this. Maybe some checks are resolved behind the scenes, and then when it comes to pass, there's I get to introduce this scene between these two characters where they kind of get to have a moment. And again, that kind of goes back to splitting the party. These two characters are having a moment. Everybody else just stay away. Let them have a moment. During fireside watches, these two characters are on watch. Let them do their RP. Don't sit back and watch and do that, so that they can have a moment to shine, and hopefully they'll do the same for you when it's your turn. So trying something a little new with these videos, trying to really isolate maybe a little bit more of what I want to take away from the session, rather than trying to recap the session, trying to just talk about every nook and cranny of the session, but really focus on the big topics that kind of came up during this session. So hopefully you guys will appreciate this little change. We'll kind of see how that works for a little bit. I am recording this video late, mainly because I was really thinking about this choice, really thinking about focusing in a little bit more on the topics at hand that can be derived from each session, rather than just trying to recap the session and just kind of talking about GMing in general. I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you guys next time.